Hello, welcome to BISP Solutions. We are an IT consulting and service provider specializing in EPM, BI, and data visualization technologies. I am Ashish Kumar Jain, a techno-functional consultant with diversified experience in Oracle Cloud implementation and support in Hyperion planning and budgeting cloud services, Hyperion financial reporting, enterprise performance reporting, cloud services, also known as narrative reporting. In this session, I will build a cash flow report under management reporting element of narrative reporting with data source being FCCS utilizing movement dimensions. Before beginning, to build any report, let us discuss a small overview of management report. So, under narrative reporting, we have an element named management report, which could be utilized to build highly formatted report utilizing various data sources. Management reporting is a cloud-based reporting solution for EPM cloud financial and managerial report. It enables users to insert charts and grids utilizing EPM cloud services. Before beginning to build any report, I have an extract of the accounts that I would be utilizing to build the cash flow report. So the accounts that I would be utilizing are for various investing, financing, and operating activity under indirect cash flow. And then we have movement against all these accounts, and we would be utilizing these accounts and movement combination to build in our cash flow report in narrative reporting package. So to begin with, we go log into our application. We just go to reports. In order to create a new report, we click create report and we set up our grid and define our data source. So I have already defined my data source as Vision Console. So I just select my data source. We could have multiple data sources. It could be EPBCS, it could be FCCS, it could be tax reporting, any cloud services we could use to build in any report in narrative reporting. Now, as we have discussed in management reporting, we have the POV bar, our options and navigation buttons with property tools. So I would directly discuss the same in our application. So this is our POV bar. So we could make or change our dimensions as required. So I would be requiring my year and period dimensions to be under column, and I want my movement dimension to be under row. So once I select my column and row, I just hide my dimension layout, and then I need to select the complete intersection for which I want to build my report. So I want to build my report for scenario actuals. So I just select my scenario as actuals. I want to keep my view as periodic for the purpose of building this particular cash flow report. Currency being my entity currency. I'm taking up an entity name under total entity. Under corporate company. We have total company, and the total company I would be building my cash flow report for North America s- entity. Data source being, since I want to have my complete data on it, so I will be using total data source. My consolidation would be entity total. So under contribution, I would be using entity total. Intercompany would be intercompany top because I want to have all my intercompany numbers in my report. The gap that I would be utilizing is IFRS, and I would be building my report at total product level. So after we are done with selecting our intersection, I just need to select the period and year, and we need to bring in our accounts with the formatting as required. So before beginning, let me bring in a period in here. So let me select one of the period. So under member selector, we could select the period. So I would be building this particular report. Let's say I want to build this report for quarter four ending. So I just select quarter four end, and I want to build this report for financial year 2017. I just bringing my year and period in here. I click OK. Now I'm done with my intersections. I want to move certain accounts in order to build my cash flow report. So let's discuss how the cash flow reports work. So for an indirect cash flow, we start with total income and we bring in our depreciation to calculate our cash flow from operating activity before working capital changes. So let me just bring these accounts. So in order to bring this account, I just go to my selector under accounts. Under income statement, I have my total comprehensive income. I just select total comprehensive income. Then I need to map this total comprehensive income to the movement dimension. So under total movement, under closing balance, under movement closing, we have under movement subtotal, we need changes. Okay. So the movement in I need is changes in net income. So under changes in net assets, I have my account. I need to search this account. So what we could do, I could just directly search this account because there are multiple movement accounts in our application. So I just directly search this particular movement account and I get my movement account area. So I want to move my net movement account. I just select changes in net income. I click OK. So I have my first row complete. So let's have a view of it, how the numbers are getting fetched up in our report. So if I just click preview, I get my total comprehensive income against the movement changes in net income with the numbers in there. So continuing with all the accounts that I need, I just insert a row after a data row, and I want to bring in my second account in here. So my second account being net income. So let me just directly search for this particular account. So if you could build your report in Excel, you could build the same report in native reporting. Movement again being changes in net income. So I just keep with the same movement and I get my second account in here. And I want to bring in my depreciation account in here. So I again click data row after this particular row, and I just need to select my depreciation account in here. So I again go to member selector and I need to search for my depreciation account. So to get the things fast, you could directly copy and search for the desired accounts to build in your reports. So you have your depreciation account. So there are multiple depreciation accounts. So I'm just taking the top member for depreciation. And the movement being changes in depreciation and amortization. So I just search for this particular movement. And once I find this particular, I just need to select that particular movement and I click OK. So the first part the first part, one of the account that is remaining is total other comprehensive income. So I just click after data. I need to select this particular account in here. So I just go to member selector, again search for this account, and the movement that I want is changes in net income against my total comprehensive income. So after selecting my accounts that are required to calculate cash flow from operating activity before working capital changes, I just click OK and I have my accounts in here. And what I need to do now, I want to have a formula in here which calculates the sum of net income, depreciation, and total comprehensive income. Okay. So what I will do, I will just add a formula row. I could provide a text in here. So I want to keep my text as cash flow before working capital changes. I just bring my formula heading in here as custom heading. I want to keep my custom heading as cash flow before working capital changes. And I want to insert a formula in here. And my formula being the sum formula. So I just use sum and I want to bring in my row in here. So I just bring my another element in here, row. And after I define row, I need to define the column for which I want to do sum. So as per our formula, I want to add up my net income and depreciation, and I want to subtract my total comprehensive income from the sum of these two. So I just click in here, range 2 to 3, and what I want a difference of it. So I just click negative minus in here, and I just type in row and the row number. So I want to subtract 4, row number 4, from this sum of these two accounts. I just click OK, and the formula, if it's valid, it will give you right, or else it will give you error. No movement is to be defined because it's a formula row in here. I just do a little bit of formatting in here. I just do it bold in here. Okay. So once done with this, I want to see the preview of it. So if I click preview, again I could check out my number. So I'm getting my cash flow before working capital changes with the numbers as we have in our application. Okay. Now the next thing that I want to bring is, I want to bring in my cash flow from operating activity. So before beginning, I just want to do a little bit of formatting. I want to insert a separator row after cash flow from operating activity. Okay. And then I want to add again a text row wherein I want to have my heading as cash flow from operating activity part A. So I just type in here, I just bring my text in here, do a formatting of it, and I just click tick mark. So I get my account in here. You could just expand your row as desired so that you could have the complete view of your accounts. Again, going further, I want to add accounts. So I just, to add accounts, I click uh, I insert a row. I just change the formatting here again. I just want to bring in my accounts in here. So the accounts that I want to bring in are my account receivables. So I bring in my account receivable in here. If I just search it, it will okay, it will throw me error because since we are using the defaults, so I cannot just search directly in here. So I have to go to member selector. I search for my account. I got my account in here. I just cross this. The movement that is defined is changes in account receivable, account receivables. So I just search for that particular movement and I click OK. Now the second account that I want to bring in is my inventories account under operating activities. So I just click, I want to bring in my inventories account in here. So I again search for my inventories account. I do a member selection for my inventories account, and the movement that is to be defined is changes in inventories against inventories account. So search for changes in inventories. I get my inventories account in here, and I want to remove this. So in the similar way, we could bring in all our accounts. So let me just pause this video and bring in all the accounts in here. So I've brought in all my accounts in here that comes under cash flow from operating activity. If I just preview, I could see my account. So I have my cash flow under cash flow from account operating activity, account receivable, dividend receivables, interest receivables. I have selected twice dividend receivables, so we could do an edit of it. Interest receivables and all the receivable accounts that comes under cash flow from operating activity and the movements associated with the same. So after account receivable, I have this extra row in here. I could just delete this. Okay. And once done, what I want to have a data formula row after this, which says cash. Okay. I just inserted it at wrong place. So I want to insert after my current liability. After my current liability, I want to add a formula, and that formula says I need sum of all these accounts. So what I will do, I will just click in here, click on formula row. I will bring in the sum formula in here, and I bring in the row, and I define total number of rows. So I want a sum from 8 up till 90. So 8 up till 90. So it will give me the sum for all. Okay. And now once done, it will by default it will provide you with the heading as a formula. So you could customize your heading. So I want to have a custom heading, and my custom heading being changes in working capital. So I want to keep this as changes in working capital. Just click save in here. And I also need to have one more formula after this, a formula which says net cash flow from operating activity. So I need to have net cash flow from operating activity. So I will keep the custom heading as net cash flow from operating activity. And the formula goes, it says net cash flow from operating activities, changes in working capital plus cash flow from operating activity before working capital changes. So the sum formula in here will be, I need to have a sum formula in here. So again, I select sum, I select row. So I want a sum for row 5, and I just click comma, and for row 20. So you could also type in row bracket, and a bracket I want to have my 20 in here. If I just click okay. So this is how you could build your cash flow report accordingly, utilizing the functionalities, predefined functionalities. Now, to do a bit of formatting, what we could do, we could just make this two as bold, and I don't want to show my movements in my final report. So I could just go to column, and I could just, instead of display, if I click hide, it will uh, hide this particular column. And if I click preview, I will have my cash flow from operating activity displayed. I want to have a comparison of the same with financial year 16 or financial year 19 or previous year or a year after it. I just click insert before or after. So I will click insert before data, and I want to have a comparison of this particular 17 with my year 18. So I just select, instead of financial year 17, I select financial year 18 here, and I get my comparison for financial year 18 and 17. If I click preview, I will have my numbers, and the row functions, the row formula will work as defined for the rows. Now, further, I need to bring in my uh, two more activity accounts for cash flow, that is cash flow from investing activity and cash flow from financing activity. So I will pause this video again and bring all those accounts into my report. So I have brought in all my accounts in here under cash flow from investing activity and under cash flow from financing activity as required. Once I am done with all these, if I just click preview, I will have the final output of my report. So I have my cash flow before working capital changes numbers. I have cash flow from operating activity. I have cash flow from investing activity, and I have cash flow from financing activity. Now, to do a bit of formatting, I want to keep this dash in center and numbers on the left. So to do this kind of alignment, what you could do, you could just select that particular column and just go to conditional formatting. And the conditional formatting, you add a formatting, and this formatting says that when you have your column value in A equals 0, or, and also if your column value A doesn't have any data, or if your column value A equals to an error. So instead of and, we should keep it as or, so that if any one of the parameter is passed, what will happen? It will just make the formatting in signed. And I just click OK. The same is to be applied for column B also. So if I just click add, same suppression that I will apply the conditional formatting in here. So for column B, if column B is equal to 0, or if column value B is equal to no data, or if column value B equals to any error, the formatting I want the is it should be middle align. Once I click OK and I save this, and if I preview this, I will have the formatting as required. So all those which have no data, no number or error will be displayed in center, and all other will be left aligned as required. And if I want to have my negative number shown up in bracket, I just click on number formatting, and I want to have my numbers with prefix and suffix as bracket for negative numbers. I just click OK, and if I click preview, I will have my report created with the negative numbers in bracket, those rows which do not have any data in center with all my accounts. So this is how you could create your cash flow report, a highly formatted cash flow report with all the suppressions, conditional formatting, and the formulae as deemed required. Once you are done with this report, you just click save, and you could also create a PDF of the same. So if I just click preview, it will open my report, and I could just extract my report. Once my report has been generated, I could just extract my report as a PDF file, and the application will create a PDF format of the same, and you could get the same in download. So it will take bit of time to generate the report in PDF format. So I could download it as PDF, and once I open, I could have the same report generated in PDF. So this is how we could build a cash flow report, a highly formatted cash flow report in narrative reporting. Thank you for being part of this session.